Tonight on RaceBot TV and iRacing Live, it's the season finale of the Skip Barber Racing Series at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve next here on iRacing Live and RaceBot TV. Live from Montreal, Canada, here on iRacing, this is the Skip Barber Racing Series season finale from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, live right here on iRacing Live, YouTube, and RaceBot TV. My name is Cisco Scaramouza alongside Alvin Nieves to bring you all the action. And Alvin, 4.3 kilometers, 2.67 miles, and a track made famous by the drivers of the Formula One Championship. This is a fantastic track. We've seen everything from the likes of Formula One to CASCAR run this track in the past, and now Skip Barber Racing Series hops back in for one final round.
One final round indeed, and this will be a really interesting racing here. Pretty much the championship already locked up by Araca Lopez, but still plenty of positions to be sorted out, especially for that one race shootout that will happen once this season is over. So really interesting track to bring these cars. We usually see these cars be on more club style circuits, so the fact that they are here in a Grand Prix style circuit, well, it will definitely provide some really interesting racing, especially how these cars use the slipstream. That will be one of the key factors in here today.
Oh yeah, for sure, and this is a very draft-heavy track, Alvin, and that's going to play huge into the racing of these cars. These cars love the slipstream. They do very well with them, and the racing is very unique with that slipstream, and that's exactly what I'm expecting to see out there today.
It definitely is, but one thing to also keep in mind, while these cars are very good on slipstream, you also the drivers will have to be careful on how they manage the engine temps, because we have seen on previous races this season, especially at Okayama, drivers were drafting heavily, and we saw many engines pop up. So that is something that all the drivers will have to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we hop on board the number 2 of Philippe Labert right now, as he's continuing his qualifying laps. Just less than 2 minutes to go here, and one of the main features of this track is, I just say that, Labert goes around. So I guess the commentator's curse in full showcase today, apparently. Fantastic. But nonetheless, now as we hop on board the number 7 of Tyler Ervais. I'll get that eventually. But nonetheless, this track, not a lot of undulation change. The most of it here, Alvin, is in these beginning couple of corners. Apart from that, everywhere else, this track relatively flat because, of course, it's on an island. It makes it a little bit easier to tell where this track is and how you're kind of expecting the corners here. The undulation change, even the little bit that there is, not really a whole lot.
It definitely is, and one of the things that really puts this track in kind of on a distinct nature, even though it is a permanent track in itself, it also has that feeling of a street circuit, because walls are really close and definitely no room for error. Yes, there are some places with grass here and there, but definitely no room for error here.
Absolutely, and looks like Tyler's pulled in the car, so only 2 cars left making laps. Barber sits in the at the end of pit road and not really moving, so about 13 seconds left to go here. So before we get everyone through, we do want to make sure we give shout-outs to everybody behind the scenes, so Esteban Ballo, Andreas Werner, as well as Simon Grossman, Nick Thiessen, myself, Cisco Scaramuza, in the fill-in role tonight as Hugo Louis off in the excursion in the U.S., I guess it is. So we're pulling back up and looking to see some really cool stuff from him, Randy, and Will, all coming up here in the future. That's going to be a lot of fun. But as the time runs out on the session, it's time to take a look at your RaceSpot TV starting grid. Ede Coba Lopez, he got it done and sits in the first positions. And then Philippe Labert is going to sit second. Justin Tipton going to start third. Fourth going to go to Bruno Barbugli. And then fifth going to go to Miko Nasi. Greg Sykes is going to start sixth. Seventh going to go to Andrew Procario. Eighth going to go to Francois Boulian. Ninth going to go to Tyler Ervias. And Christopher Cash rounds out your top 10. 11th going to go to Carl Dronk. 12th going to go to Jorge Atenza. 13th going to go to Philippe Stoneman. 14th going to go to Russell Clark. 15th going to go to Adam Blocker. Sarah Savage going to start 16th. 17th going to go to Justin Smith. 18th to Ryan Walker. And rounding out your 19-car field is Kenneth O'Keefe, rather. And we took a look at pretty much everything here, and that means we have to head to the grid right now, waiting for the lights to go out on the race here. We wait patiently for the green flag here, Alvin. Last minute thoughts before they go green?
That'll be really interesting now how Alex Lopez manages this start. We have seen that he has had some troubles here and there managing the start, but how he manages it, that'll be one of the key points here once they start. Of course, there's gonna be the slipstream, so not really much to worry about if he kind of gets a struggle during the start, but he should be able to do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, and green flag in the air, and we are live here from Montreal, the final race of the season. We are green, and already out to an early lead is going to be the driver of Ede Coba Lopez right now. Leads the field through 1 and 2 right now, through the chicane, down under the Napper Bridge, and everybody single file right now as they head through your top 5.
Pretty much everybody single foul right now. Alex Lopez able to open just that little bit of a gap there. That should be good enough for him for the time being. But Philippe Labert running in second place right now, and we got a trouble here all the way on turn number 4. It's Carl Dronke.
Yeah, Kyle Dronke around already. Problems, and he's already down pit road, so we'll take a look at the replay camera and see what happened to him. And it was a cluster early on through the race, and yeah, just got punted and off into the grass he goes. So, well, I guess it's starting out early, but for Ede Coba Lopez, a great lead right now as they head through the chicane once again. Him and Philippe Labert have broken out 1-2. Then you got Justin Tipton, Bruno Barbugli, 3 and 4 right now.
Absolutely, the top 2 trying to do a bit of a breakaway, but in P3 and P4 the battle is on as Bruno Barbugli looks for the inside, but it's not able to do it. And oh my God, they spawn going into the hairpin contact there.
Yeah, massive contact right there, and Barbugli gonna pay for it there. He was not terribly happy with that move, as we're gonna take a look at that once again from high above the speedway. And yeah, just all went wrong. Barbugli just tagged the rear end of the number 6 of Justin Tipton, and all went wrong there. So as we look back live, it looks like the 6 of Justin Tipton. No, he's actually going to head straight to pit road. So damage to Justin means he has to head down. I would assume Barbugli going to do the same. No, he's not. He's going to stay out on track.
Stayed out of track, but after lap 1, Felipe Bear and Araiko Lopez able to break away from the rest of the pack, and that was a big factor there, that contact into the hairpin, because usually we see the leading group, it's a 5 to 6 car leading group that kind of stays together, but because of what happened going into the hairpin, Araiko Lopez and Felipe Bear able to break away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, we're looking at the guys behind. It's Nasi there in 3rd, and you're looking also at Greg Seitz in the 4, who's sitting 4th right now. That makes it a little bit easier, but everybody single file back through here. But as you mentioned, it's kind of a train behind them, and all single files now. Actually, that battle is going to go on in front of those guys. It's Leber looking to driver's left of Ade Coba Lopez. Nothing there right now. Hard on the brakes under the bridge as they go right-left chicane right here and heading towards the hairpin at the east end of the circuit.
Yeah, definitely. Felipe Bear trying to show his nose here and there. Now he has a look on the left side, but decides not to go for it. And Araiko Lopez still running here, P1 going into the hairpin. Now, really interesting how the group behind them with Nico Nancy, Greg Seitz, Sandro Procario, Francois Bulli, and Tyler Herbias and Christopher Koch, how they get to manage this race going on, because they know that if they start battling, these two are just gonna pull away. But Felipe right now going into the left, side by side. Araiko Lopez trying to fight for it, but decides that it's just wiser to let him go, because we know that going into the final chicane, going side by side, it's really dangerous.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of wrecks in CASCAR. Hello, Felipe Bear got very loose going through the final chicane. And we'll take a second look at that whole exchange because we missed the initial pass. And it was, as you said, Ade Coba Lopez just got out of the way for Felipe Bear for him to get past. And then you see them going to the chicane, and he got all the curbs there and had to dirt track it a little bit there, Alvin, but managed to make the save, and right now leads your field over Ade Coba Lopez, who's stalking him in 2nd.
Got all the curbs, got everything, and even got as close as you can get to the wall of champions without actually touching it. So great job there by Felipe Bear trying to keep that car under control. But now Araiko Lopez running in P2, he's starting to smell blood, and this is something that we have seen from Araiko Lopez. Usually he runs in front of the field. We are not used to seeing him run in 2nd place, but from what we saw on last race, he is capable of exhibiting that patience that is needed for this type of racing. However, I think that for this race, patience is not gonna be one of the things that we're gonna see here. I think he's gonna use the slipstream once they get out of the hairpin. Look for him to take back the lead.
Yeah, absolutely, as they head into the hairpin once again, and Lopez stalking Leber, just not able to do anything. He was a little too far back here as we look as they head down the very, very, very long straightaway. It feels like Spa out here, Alvin. That's because this does have a little bit of a similarity to the Camel Straight in the fact that this is a very long straightaway into a right-left chicane. Not as big rounded corners as Lake Coombe, but nonetheless a very short and technical chicane here as we head through it once again.
Going into that chicane, but Araiko Lopez definitely looks like he is pretty comfortable running right now in P2. He knows that there's really no point in trying to go for the lead now. I think he's gonna save his car as much as he can for the final lap, but that's also some smart racing, because the more that they keep racing, then that also means that that group being led by Miko Nasi is gonna keep closing the gap to these two, and they are slowly but surely closing that gap. But so give it a couple more laps and this will become an 8-car battle.
Yes, it will for sure, and it almost looks like Daytona out there, except, well, these are Skip Barbers and we're at Montreal. So nonetheless, Ade Coba Lopez, I think we've been expecting him to be able to move a little bit closer to the lead here, Alvin. Not the case quite yet, but he hasn't gone away. He's just kind of kept the gap steady right now, sitting behind Felipe Bear in that 1st place position. And this big train of cars that just went by the camera there, that goes all the way back to P8. No, P9. No, P8. It is Christopher Cash, the last car on this train of all these guys slipstreaming here, Alvin.
It is the last car, but now looking a little bit closer, and it looks like Francois and really close to the back of Greg Seitz, but decides to not make a movement here. All the cars saying single file, and I think this is the smart move that these guys are doing in order to close the gap to Areca Lopez and Felipe Lever. I think Felipe Lever and Areca Lopez also kind of noticed what is going on, and perhaps they started to pick up the pace. So look for Areca Lopez looking here into the right side. Let's see if he goes with a move for the lead, and it looks like yes, Felipe Lever decides not to fight it as well. So Areca Lopez back in the lead.
Oh, and Felipe Leber gonna go on the wall, flip it over, and big time contact for Felipe Leber. We'll get a second look at it, and what looked like to be a simple pass for the lead all went wrong. I do not believe that, Alvin. He goes and tumbles out of the chicane into the wall of champions, and oh my goodness, I have not seen that before.
Well, there was pretty much something waiting to happen. You can get as close to the wall of champions as you can, but there will come a time that the wall of champions will get you. And well, let's put it this way: Felipe Lever won season 2, so yeah, he's a champion. So that wall, well, it's kind of like a visit to a champion itself. So good job for him.
Yeah, and you can see the damage. The nose cone completely gone on that Skip Barber 2000. And yeah, that's not going to be fun to drive the rest of this race, Alvin, but he's going to stay out there for, I think, as long as humanly possible in that car to try and make up some points. So meanwhile, flash to the battle for second right now. Greg Seitz sitting right on the back wing of Mikko Nasi, and Nasi doing an excellent job of spearheading the second group, as now they're in pursuit of Lopez. That's it. They don't have to worry about any other cars, and that might mean a little bit of infighting, because Procario looked to the inside of Hervias and just nothing there right now, but he's taking looks.
And speaking of this group, Christopher Cash in the number 10 starting to lose touch with this group, and that is definitely what he doesn't want it here. He wants to stay as close as possible to have a fighting chance to have a good result. But now Mikko Nasi defending really hard from Greg Seitz, going into the chicane and now going side by side, but Mikko Nasi decides not to fight it, and he's gonna cause a two positions going into the chicane, into the wall of champions last turn, and coming into the start finish line. So Mikko Nasi, perhaps a bit of a smart move, but that even cost him 2 spots.
Yeah, and Seitz moves into that spearheading role now, and Lopez, meanwhile, the gap starting to fall little by little. It's not amazingly quick, but it is going down, and just down to the slipstream of these cars, and you can see it doesn't really visually change, but the numbers say it's going down, and actually that time it went up a little bit going through that first sector. So Arecopa Lopez doing everything possible to hold on to this lead, and I think as Seitz and Bouillon, the more they fight, Alvin, the harder it's going to be for them to catch Lopez.
And now the question becomes that Greg Seitz does have the pace to lead this group and to try to catch to Arecopa Lopez. And from the looks of it, the gap keeps growing. So perhaps for Greg Seitz, yeah, it may be a good idea to run right now in P2, but I think he needs somebody else to lead this group, because the more time he stays in front, the more Arecopa Lopez is going to pull away.
Yeah, and Lopez doing just that. The gap up to 2 seconds now, and Lopez just doing a fantastic job of leading this race. 1.966 at the last interval there, and it's not really going anywhere. This is the one opportunity that Seitz really has to be able to gain on the leader, is with this slipstream here. But the one thing he has to worry about is maybe a couple of people jumping out on him and trying to make their own way in this battle here. You see Nasi right to the rear gearbox of Bouillon. Now going to look to drivers inside as Bouillon looks to the inside of Seitz. 3 wide as they head towards the chicane. And it looks like Nasi going to get out of the throttle right now, and it's going to go the way of Bouillon, at least for the moment right now. And Seitz going to fall to 3rd. Francois Bouillon in the 2nd spot.
Going into 2nd, but Mikko Nasi looking into the left side of Greg Seitz. Let's see if he can make the move going into turn number 1. Now you see going side by side here, still going with Greg Size. Now he's gonna be at a disadvantage because he's gonna be on the outside, but still keeping the car there up to Greg Size. But Greg Size not giving up, but he has to definitely let Mikonasi go. Now Mikonasi up to P3. Let's see if he can bring out the fight to François Boulian.
Yeah, Boulian doing an excellent job right now. It was a fantastic pass through the chicane that's moved him into that second place position. But the problem is, all this fighting, Arecopa Lopez, the gap now 2.5 seconds to him. So the longer these guys fight amongst themselves, the more Arecopa Lopez is able to just pull away from the rest of them, Alvin. And that's good news for the driver of the name of the number plate number 1.
Yeah, definitely what he is looking for, and this is pretty much what we have seen all season long from Arecopa Lopez, dominating from the drop of the green flag. Yeah, sometimes he may have a little bit of trouble during the start, but this time, this race, he got a good start. He's been able to pull away. Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate what happened with Felipe Leber as well. So now it's for Arecopa Lopez. It's all about trying to manage that gap, making sure that he hits all his apexes, all his braking points, make sure that he doesn't get any mistakes done. So now battle here for P2. Mikonasi getting a good run here from François Boulian. Let's see if he can get a move here. Now he stays behind. He's starting to close little by little, and I don't think he's gonna make a move. No, he goes to the right side, and we have seen pretty much this move all race long. You go side by side. The car that's outside decides not to fight it. Very smart move.
Yeah, very smart move, and the battling's not over as it's the number 9 of Precario looking to the outside. Nothing really there for him, so he'll drop back in line, but it's basically made them go almost 2 by 2, and right in front of him, Sight's gonna hold them all at bay, or at least try to right now. Is Cash gonna try and make the pass, and he will get it on Kenneth O'Keefe. And actually, no, Cash gonna lose that position. Hervias was able to get by Cash there, and you kind of have 2 sets of group in this group of 6. You have the top 2 who's been able to open up that gap a little bit, Boulian and Sights, and then Precario and everybody behind him. And we keep mentioning O'Keefe, partly because I keep confusing him for being in this group. There he is, along with Philip Stoneman and Sarah Savage, who make up this next group. They are far away, about 6 seconds behind Christopher Cash here.
6 seconds behind, so that's definitely a lot of time that they have to make if they want to do something. And with 5 laps to go, it's pretty much gonna be this fight for them. And we also have a group of 4 just right behind them that they are closing, being led by Justin Smith in what is P number 11. So 2 groups here that also have a good fight here. Yes, it may not be for top positions, but still they are going to race for what it's all left.
And that was Russell Clark, who just got into the wall there on the camera, came off a little bit wide through that corner, and just got a piece of the Onco barrier, and it went wrong for him. He's now going to go wide at the hairpin, lose 2 more spots. So Russell Clark, it all falling apart at the seams for him, but we flash back up to the lead because they're on the straight, and that means passing time. And for Greg Sights, he's just going to try and hold Precario at bay right now. Meanwhile, Mikonasi was able to get the pass done on Boulian. He'll move back into that second spot, and Sights, meanwhile, on the defensive.
Greg Sights on the defensive indeed. Let's see if he can get that in, if he can keep what is P number 4 away from Andrew Precario for the time being, and the answer is yes. So now Mikonasi leading the group, but it may be a little too late for this group as the gap to Arecopa Lopez right now with 4 laps to go, it's 2.5 seconds, and that's pretty much, unless they really pick up the pace and they decide not to fight, I don't see any way that they can catch Arecopa Lopez.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, Nasi, I think, is more worrying about where Francois Boulian is, as well as Greg Sights. And Sights is there, and he's trying to make the moves, but the problem is, anytime he gets close to these guys, he has to worry about Precario, Hervias, and Cash behind him. But this is the case now where he's opened up a little bit of a gap here, Alvin. That might be enough for him to be able to maintain that gap and focus on offense instead of defense for the first time this race.
That could be definitely beneficial for Mikonasi there. Let's see if he can keep that gap going into turn number 10. The chicane, sorry, the hairpin. I'm kind of getting cross here with the chicanes and hairpin. Sorry about that, but looks like Mikko Nassi got a good run there going out of the hairpin, and that definitely is not good news for Francois Boulian. He's definitely gonna have to race a lot harder to be able to close that gap. And yes, it kind of looks like Mikko Nassi has closed that gap to Ricardo Lopez, only 2.3 seconds, and I don't think that's gonna be enough.
And meanwhile, we'll hop on board the number 8 of Boulogne, because he's gonna no, not gonna happen this time. Boulogne looked like he was able to maybe try and get the run out of the corner. That was a big time negatory for the driver of the number 8. So lost a little bit of time to Mikko Nassi, and Nassi starting to pull away a little bit in this this lead battle, or this battle for second. It's really gonna kind of fall apart, and it's gonna be between Seitz and Boulogne there for that third place position, the last spot on the podium.
Definitely Mikko Nassi doing what he needs to do right now. He knows that he's the faster driver of this group here, and it's definitely starting to show up for sure. Now, while it may be too little too late, perhaps trying to put a little bit of pressure. Who knows if perhaps he may be able to close the gap, although it's only 3 laps to go. It may be too little too late. But battle here for P3 right now, Francois Boulian and Greg Seitz. Francois Boulian definitely defending that position really hard, coming into the second chicane here of this circuit. I don't think that Greg Seitz, it's really that close enough to actually, after they get out of the hairpin, if he's gonna able to mount an attack of Francois Boulian to take P3.
Yeah, I'd have to agree here, Alvin. I think Boulian at this point, unless, wow, what a dive into the hairpin, trying to get everything he could there, and looks like it's not going to go his way, because while he got a lot of time on corner entry, it just didn't pay off on the exit, and he's going to pay for it now, because here comes Seitz, and Seitz is going to have a huge run coming up here, and maybe have a shot to grab that third place position, as well as the last step on the podium as they head towards the final chicane once again.
Big mistake there by Francois Boulian indeed, but definitely Greg Seitz not enough that he can do right now. Still running in P4, 2 laps to go. Mikko Nassi closed the gap just a little bit more. Now it's now the gap just sits at 2 seconds, but definitely not enough. So with that said, Mikko Nassi, yes, he is the faster driver, but also that fighting between Francois Boulian and Greg Seitz, even though Greg Seitz has not been able to do the overtake for what is P number 3 right now, that has enabled those two to close the gap to Mikko Nassi. So look for Mikko Nassi to have to defend P2 into these final 2 laps.
Yeah, and Nassi trying to close that gap, but it's back up to 2 seconds. So I think Lopez saw the gap starting to shrink and decided to hit the pedal and kind of pull that gap back out once again. Meanwhile, behind, Greg Seitz still there working the rear wing of Francois Boulian, and may have the opportunity here. He's closing, and quickly.
Closing in, Greg Seitz now. I think this is the closest that he has ever been since this was a 6-car group. Now Greg Seitz looking here onto the right side, going inside into the hairpin. Let's see if he can get that position, and the answer for now is yes. Greg Seitz moving now into P3, but now look for Francois Boulian for the over-under. He gets a good run here from Greg Seitz. Look for Francois Boulian to get the move here on Greg Seitz going into the final lap.
Yeah, and they're going to have 1 lap left to go here, so Boulian not done with them yet. I think he waited for the chicane, and yeah, they'll go 2 wide here as they head towards the final chicane once again. The 4 going to drop in behind, so Seitz will have to surrender position back to Boulian. And meanwhile, the gap at the line, Coba Lopez, 1.7 over the rest of the field. And while Nassi is closing, it's just not enough right now, as white flag in the air this time for Coba Lopez. Meanwhile, side by side go Seitz and Boulian as they head back into turn number 1.
Side by side, and Greg Seitz takes P3 again from Francois Boulian. This is going to be the battle for the final step on the podium, but also Tyler Heavy is able to close into this group, so look for him to perhaps mount an attack here in the final stages of this race to get P number 3.
He might have saved a little bit of something for the guys in front of him, and this is his opportunity to maybe grab one, if not two spots here. But Frade Copa Lopez continuing to lead this field. You see him off in the distance from the side pod of Hervias right now, and Tyler looking to see if he can get to the inside, outside, anywhere he can go. Francois right now as they head towards the one more chicane complex here before the hairpin.
Definitely coming into the final corners of this race. Greg Seitz leading this group from Franz Boulian and Tyler Hervias. Let's see if Franz Boulian can mount an attack here coming into the hairpin. He is closing little by little, but so is Tyler Hervias. Franz Boulian looks a little bit to the inside, but decides not to take the position away yet. So now coming here into the final straightaway, look for these two to try to take that position away. But on top of that, we cannot take away what Areco Lopez has been able to do this race all race long.
Coba Lopez has made this a fantastic race for himself, able to avoid all the controversy, all the crashing, everything else as he heads through the final chicane. Eddie Coba Lopez going to come to the checkered flag, and he's going to win here at Montreal. Miko Nasi going to finish second, and then that battle out of the chicane is going to go in favor of Greg Seitz, who's going to be able to pass Francois Boulian, and Tyler Hervias is going to get by him as well. No bus. Boulian able to edge out. No, he won't. And Hervias is actually going to grab that fourth place position, but for Eddie Coba Lopez, race winner here from Montreal. And for Greg Seitz, he was able to make it work at the last second, Alvin, and grab that final step on the podium.
Yeah, fantastic job here but there by Greg Seitz. A big mistake from Francois Boulian going into the final chicane. He had to take evasive action. He had to take the escape road going into the final chicane, and that is what allowed Tyler Hervias to snatch that P4 all the way as close to the finish line as he could.
Yeah, we're going to take one last look at that before we run you through your full race results here, because we're getting ready to head over to not only the Raven Graphics Contender Series, but also the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. You see them go side by side, and yeah, just a miscalculation by Boulian there, and it's going to cost him a shot at the podium here at Montreal. But as we look back live here over the rest of the field, let's run you through your RaceSpot TV final finishing order here from Montreal. Eddie Copa Lopez was able to get the victory here. Miko Nasi going to finish second. Third going to go to Greg Seitz. Fourth going to go to Tyler Hervias. Andrew Procario is going to finish fifth. Sixth going to go to Christopher Cash. Seventh going to go to Ryan Walker. Eighth to Kenneth O'Keefe. Ninth going to go to Philippe Stoneman. And rounding out your top 10, Alvin, is going to be Justin Smith.
Yeah, definitely. And now in P number 11, we got Sarah Savage. P12, Adam Blocker. P number 13, Jorge Atienza. Justin Tipton able to come in P number 14, Philippe Lebert, for all the troubles that he had coming home in P number 15. 16 goes to Russell Clark. 17, Francois Boulian. So it looks like that shortcut that he had, that definitely is going to pay the price to being on the tail end of the lead lap. And P number 18, Carl Drunke, and rounding up your field, Bruno Barbugli.
Yeah, and that's everybody in your field here, but the racing action isn't over tonight here on RaceSpot TV. Not enough time to stay and chat with too many drivers, because we've got to head out for the Raven Graphics Contender Series here on RaceSpot TV, as well as I have to head out to the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series over on LSR TV. So for everybody involved here at RaceSpot TV in the broadcast tonight, for Hugo Louise and Will Vincent, who are currently over on the West Coast having a little bit of fun, and for myself, Cisco Scaramuza, and Alvin Nieves, we say good evening from Montreal, and we look forward to seeing you at the next track.